Imagine this scenario: for years you've heard doctors, health magazines, and even TV shows repeat the same idea: the avocado is one of nature's most powerful foods, a true green remedy capable of caring for the heart, brain, and even the skin. Many seniors have adopted it almost as a daily ritual, for breakfast, as an afternoon snack, blended in smoothies, or mashed on toast. The promise was clear: more energy, more longevity, more vitality. But is this superfood reputation entirely true? Could the celebrated avocado hide dangerous traps for those over 60? That's the point. Yes, the avocado has valuable nutrients, good fats, fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins. But, as in every hero story, there is also the other side, that detail no one talks about. Incorrect, excessive, or improperly combined consumption can turn a health ally into a silent saboteur of well-being. This is even more serious for those who are aging because the body no longer responds the same way. Metabolism slows down, nutrient absorption changes, and certain organs, like the liver, kidneys, and heart, become more sensitive to excesses. And it is precisely in this phase of life that some common mistakes with avocados can be costly. Scientific research shows that seniors who maintain a balanced and diverse diet have a lower risk of chronic diseases and live longer. However, studies also reveal that many foods considered miraculous can bring risks if used without moderation or attention to individual context. The avocado is in this group. It is not a poison, far from it, but it can become a trap when we believe in the false idea that the more, the better. This is where the danger lies. Have you ever stopped to think that, instead of protecting your heart, it might be overloading it? That, instead of helping with digestion, it might be hindering your stomach's work? Or even that, instead of strengthening your bones, it might be unbalancing the absorption of essential nutrients? These questions may sound shocking, but they are the key to understanding the 13 dangerous mistakes that many seniors make without realizing it. Throughout this content, we will reveal each of these mistakes, always in a clear, direct, and practical way. You will discover why eating avocado every day can be a trap, how certain combinations hinder your body, and what warning signs cannot be ignored. Get ready to see the avocado with new eyes, not as an absolute villain, but as a food that requires intelligence, balance, and care. If this topic has sparked your curiosity and you value content that reveals hidden truths to protect your health, give it a like now. This way, you support our work and ensure that more people over 60 also discover these details before it's too late. When we talk about avocados, the first image that comes to mind is of a healthy food, full of good fats that are good for the heart. But there's a detail that almost no one mentions: it's extremely calorie-dense. Half a medium avocado has about 160 to 200 calories, coming basically from fats. Now imagine this: a senior, believing they are making a perfect choice, eats a whole avocado a day. It seems healthy, but in practice, this is equivalent to almost a whole meal in terms of calories, without them even realizing it. This is where the trap begins. Unlike your 20s or 30s, when your metabolism burned energy at an accelerated rate, after 60, this internal engine slows down. The body starts to use fewer calories for the same basic functions. This means that any dietary excess, even from something considered healthy, is easily accumulated in the form of body fat. The result? Silent weight gain, a growing belly, stress on the joints, and a greater risk of developing insulin resistance. And it's not just an aesthetic issue. Excess weight in seniors is directly linked to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular problems. For many, this connection isn't clear. After all, if the food is healthy, how could it be harmful? It is exactly this false sense of security that opens the door to mistakes. Eating a whole avocado can be as problematic as overdoing fried foods, because in the end, the body doesn't distinguish the origin of the calorie excess, it simply stores it. A practical example helps to visualize this. Think of Maria, 67, who started adding avocado blended with milk and sugar to her breakfast every day. She believed she was strengthening her heart and improving digestion. In a few months, she realized her clothes no longer fit so well, her blood pressure increased, and her doctor warned her about prediabetes. What seemed like a smart choice turned out to be an invisible mistake, precisely because of the exaggeration. Of course, this isn't about demonizing the avocado. The secret is in the portion. A thin slice, equivalent to 2 tablespoons, already provides fiber, good fats, and satiety without overloading the body. The problem arises when consumption becomes a daily routine in large quantities, without adjusting the rest of the diet. The body, already slower, cannot cope. And here's an important reflection. How many other foods do you eat, believing that they don't make you gain weight just because they're healthy? This is the same trap that happens with nuts, olive oil, or cheeses. Everything has value, but the key is balance. Interestingly, what many ignore is that it's not just the accumulation of calories that is a concern. There is another subtle effect of too much avocado that can become a threat to the heart itself, and this detail may surprise you. When we hear that avocado is rich in good fats, we immediately imagine a shield of protection for the heart. Monounsaturated fats, in fact, help reduce bad cholesterol, LDL, and increase good cholesterol, HDL. This is one of the reasons why the avocado gained worldwide fame as a superfood. But there is a detail that many ignore: even what is good can become harmful when consumed without moderation. The fats present in the avocado are healthy, but they are still fats. And the body of someone over 60 doesn't handle them the same way as in youth. The liver, for example, may have its function reduced with age, making it difficult to metabolize large quantities of lipids. This means that an excess of avocado can contribute to a problem that is becoming more and more common: fatty liver disease. Often silent, it is only noticed when it is already in an advanced stage, causing inflammation and increasing the risk of serious complications. In addition, if avocado consumption is exaggerated, a paradoxical effect can occur. Instead of reducing cholesterol, it can end up unbalancing the cholesterol balance. This happens because the body needs adequate proportions between various types of fat: saturated, unsaturated, and polyunsaturated. When there is an excess of a single source, the metabolic balance is thrown off. For the heart, this scenario can be as harmful as a diet rich in fried foods. Imagine the case of Antonio, 72, who decided to replace butter and margarine with large quantities of avocado. At first, his exams showed an improvement in cholesterol. But after a few months, the effect was reversed: his triglycerides skyrocketed, he gained weight, and he needed to start medication. What seemed like a perfect choice turned into a real problem. This is the kind of trap that many seniors fall into, believing that, because it's natural, the food can be consumed without limits. But the aging body requires balance, not excesses. Even what is classified as good needs to be in harmony with the rest of the diet. And there's more: when the liver is overloaded with fats, other systems also suffer. Digestion becomes slower, the absorption of essential nutrients decreases, and in some cases, there is an increase in silent inflammation in the body. This state of chronic inflammation is one of the biggest villains of aging, accelerating the wear and tear of joints, blood vessels, and even memory. Therefore, the message is clear: avocado should not be banned, but it also cannot be seen as a free pass. The quantity makes all the difference, and for those who already have a history of high cholesterol, hypertension, or fatty liver, attention must be redoubled. But if the excess fat can already be a problem, there is an even more dangerous mistake, one that happens not from exaggeration, but from combining the avocado with something that should protect health: medications. Many seniors live with a routine marked by daily pills, medications to control blood pressure, anticoagulants to prevent clots, statins for cholesterol, and medications for diabetes. This reality is part of aging, and there's no problem in using these resources when they are well guided by a doctor. The great risk appears when apparently harmless foods, like the avocado, enter the equation without due care. Few people know this, but the avocado can interact with medications in a worrying way. The first critical point involves anticoagulants, such as warfarin. Avocado contains vitamin K, which participates in the blood coagulation process. By ingesting large quantities of this vitamin, the effect of the medication can be neutralized or reduced, increasing the risk of forming dangerous clots, which can lead to heart attacks or strokes. Does it sound exaggerated? It's not. There are already medical reports of patients who showed unexpected variations in coagulation tests precisely because they consumed too much avocado. Another important case is the interaction with hypertension medications. The avocado, due to its high potassium content, can increase the levels of this substance in the blood even more when combined with potassium-sparing diuretics, such as spironolactone. The result? An imbalance called hyperkalemia, which can cause dangerous cardiac arrhythmias. For those who already live with a sensitive heart, this can become a real minefield. And there is still a third, rarely discussed situation. Some compounds in the avocado can influence the action of medications for cholesterol control. Studies suggest that exaggerated consumption can alter liver enzymes that metabolize these medicines, making the treatment less effective. It's as if the effort of taking the medication were sabotaged in the kitchen, without the patient even suspecting it. To illustrate, imagine Lucia, 69. After including avocado in her dinner every day, she noticed that her medical consultations started to come with warnings. Her blood pressure fluctuated, her blood was thicker in the exams, and the doctor didn't understand why the results didn't correspond to the medication. It was only after a detailed conversation about her diet that it was possible to discover that the avocado, in excess, was at the center of the confusion. This is an essential warning. The problem is not in eating avocado in a balanced way, but in believing that the quantity doesn't matter. For those who depend on medications, balance becomes a matter of safety. And here is a practical tip: if you use anticoagulants, blood pressure medications, or any continuous treatment, never change your avocado consumption without talking to your doctor. Small changes can mean big differences in the results. But even for those who don't take medications, there is another trap hidden in avocado consumption. It begins long before you put the food in your mouth, at the moment of choosing and storing it. And this mistake can transform a healthy food into a risk of silent poisoning. Many people believe that it is enough to put an avocado in the shopping cart and that's it, a guarantee of health. But what almost no one realizes is that a mistake can already start at the supermarket. The avocado is a sensitive, highly perishable fruit, and when it is not chosen or stored correctly, it can turn into a real enemy of health, especially for those who are over 60 and have a less efficient immune system. The green, smooth skin can be deceiving. Inside, the avocado may be full of dark spots, signs of oxidation, or even colonized by fungi invisible to the naked eye. Fungal contamination in poorly preserved fruits releases substances called mycotoxins, which can generate inflammation in the liver and intestine, in addition to increasing the risk of food poisoning. In seniors, these effects are potentially dangerous, since episodes of diarrhea or vomiting can lead to rapid dehydration, loss of minerals, and frailty. Another common mistake happens at home: leaving the avocado open in the refrigerator without protection. When the pulp comes into direct contact with the air, accelerated oxidation occurs. That brown coloration is not just an aesthetic problem, it indicates a loss of nutrients and an accumulation of substances that irritate the digestive system. Many people think it's enough to just remove the dark part and eat the rest, but the oxidation spreads in invisible layers. And it doesn't stop there. Storing avocados next to fruits that release a lot of ethylene, like apples and bananas, can accelerate ripening in an uncontrolled way. In a short time, the fruit goes from the ideal point to a state of internal decomposition. Eating a fermented avocado or one with an altered flavor is one of the entryways for digestive discomforts, nausea, and opportunistic infections. The good news is that there are simple precautions. When choosing, press the skin lightly. If it gives in softly, it's ripe. If it's too hard, let it ripen outside the refrigerator. If it's too soft, there's a risk of deterioration. After cutting, the ideal is to consume it immediately or store the pulp in a closed container, with a few drops of lemon to slow down oxidation. These simple precautions prevent a food rich in benefits from becoming a trigger for serious problems. But there's an even more intriguing detail: even when the avocado is fresh and well stored, its consumption can generate unwanted effects on the digestive system of many seniors. Symptoms like heartburn, reflux, and intestinal discomfort are more common than imagined, and may be related precisely to the concentration of fats that this fruit carries. The avocado is often associated with good digestion. After all, it contains fiber that helps the gut work better. However, the effect isn't always so positive, especially for those over 60. The truth is that, despite its fame as a light food, the avocado can behave like a heavy meal for the stomach of many seniors. The reason is its composition. Although natural, it concentrates a high amount of fats. And what does this mean in practice? For the body to be able to digest fats, it needs to produce bile in the liver and release it in the gallbladder, in addition to activating pancreatic enzymes. This process, in younger people, happens with relative efficiency. But with aging, both the production of enzymes and the capacity of the gallbladder can decrease. The result is an overloaded stomach, which takes longer to empty and causes a feeling of heaviness after the meal. This is precisely when many seniors begin to notice symptoms like heartburn, reflux, and gas. Small portions can be well tolerated, but when the quantity increases, the discomfort becomes inevitable. Reflux deserves special attention. That acidic liquid that returns from the stomach to the esophagus is not only uncomfortable but also, in the long term, can inflame the mucosa and even cause lesions. A clear example is Jose, 71. He loved preparing avocado smoothies for dinner, believing he was nourishing his body to sleep better. But he started waking up at night with chest burning and a dry cough. Only after medical guidance did he discover that the avocado, consumed in excess at night, was behind the problem. By reducing the quantity and changing the time of consumption, the symptoms decreased. It is important to emphasize that this is not about demonizing the food, but about recognizing the signs the body gives. Digestion after 60 needs extra care. Concentrated fats, even if good, can irritate a more sensitive digestive system. Adjusting the time, the quantity, and even the preparation method can make all the difference. And if you think that just switching the fruit for avocado oil will avoid these problems, be careful. The liquid version may seem more practical, but it hides even greater traps when used incorrectly. With the growth of the functional food industry, avocado oil has gained space on shelves as a premium alternative to olive oil. Eye-catching labels promise incredible benefits: cholesterol reduction, improved heart health, strengthened joints, and skin rejuvenation. For many seniors, it seems like the perfect solution: easy to use, concentrated, and, above all, natural. But the reality is more complex than the advertising suggests. The first problem is adulteration. Several studies have already shown that a significant portion of the vegetable oils sold on the market contain mixtures with other cheaper oils, such as soybean or canola, which reduce quality and nullify the promised benefits. For the consumer, this means paying a high price for a product that may be inferior or even harmful, since some oxidized oils favor silent inflammation in the body. In addition, even pure avocado oil requires attention. Because it is highly calorie-dense and rich in fats, excessive consumption can generate the same problems that we discussed with the fruit itself: weight gain, liver overload, and increased digestive discomfort. Many seniors, believing they are adopting a protective habit, end up adding generous tablespoons of oil to their meals, without considering that each tablespoon brings almost 120 concentrated calories. Another critical point is the marketing around the stability of avocado oil at high temperatures. It is true that it withstands higher heat than olive oil, but that doesn't mean that fried foods become healthy just because they are made with this oil. The excess heat generates toxic substances in any fat, regardless of its origin. Imagine Teresa, 68, who switched from olive oil to avocado oil believing she was modernizing her kitchen. In a few months, she noticed weight gain, frequent heartburn, and, to her surprise, her cholesterol tests didn't improve. What seemed like a superior choice ended up revealing that there is no miracle oil, but rather the need for moderation and quality. The message is simple: avocado oil can be an ally, as long as it is used in small quantities, preferably raw, and from trusted brands. But turning it into the star of the kitchen is opening the door to imbalances. And here I want to hear from you: have you ever tried avocado oil? Did you notice any difference in your body or your exams? Share your experience in the comments. Your story can help a lot of people in our community make more conscious decisions. Among the nutrients in avocado, vitamin K usually receives less attention than its good fats or fiber. However, this detail can make a huge difference in the health of those over 60. Vitamin K plays an essential role. It participates directly in blood clotting, helping the body to stop bleeding. So far, it just seems like a positive thing. The problem arises when this nutrient interacts with medications that millions of seniors use daily. People who take anticoagulants, such as warfarin, depend on a fine-tuned balance in their blood, neither too thin nor too thick. It's like balancing an extremely delicate scale. Excessive ingestion of vitamin K can weigh on one side of the scale, neutralizing part of the medication's effect. The result? The risk of dangerous clots, which can cause heart attacks or strokes, increases silently. For those who depend on these medications, small dietary variations can have big consequences. And here is the trap: avocado consumption is not usually considered a problem in traditional medical routines, precisely because it is not as rich in vitamin K as dark leafy greens, like kale or spinach. But when the fruit is consumed in large quantities or with daily frequency, the sum can indeed become significant, altering the results of coagulation tests without the patient noticing. Another little discussed aspect is that vitamin K is not just about clotting. It also plays an important role in bone health, helping to fix calcium in the bones. For seniors, this is vital in the fight against osteoporosis. So the dilemma arises: how to enjoy the benefits of vitamin K without running risks? The answer is in balance and personalization. A real example helps to illustrate. Imagine Paul, 73, who has been taking anticoagulants for years. After including avocado in his breakfast almost every day, his exams began to show unexpected variations. The doctor reviewed the medication dosage several times until he discovered that the diet had changed. By adjusting avocado consumption to 2 or 3 times a week, the problem was solved. Paul continued to enjoy the benefits of the fruit without compromising the safety of his treatment. This story shows how every detail matters. It is not necessary to eliminate avocado, but to understand that it must be consumed within a dietary context, respecting each person's condition. Talking to your doctor before making dietary changes is essential, especially when using continuous medications. And if even vitamin K requires care, imagine when we believe that avocado is an inexhaustible source of energy. Many seniors fall for this idea and end up turning what should be vitality into exhaustion. Avocado is often called a natural fuel. And in fact, its combination of good fats, fiber, and minerals provides constant energy, unlike the sharp rise and fall caused by simple sugars. That's why many seniors adopt the habit of consuming avocado, believing they will be more ready for the day's tasks. But here is the contradiction: for many people over 60, this fuel can become a weight that drains vitality instead of strengthening it. This happens because the digestion of fats requires a prolonged effort from the body. The stomach takes longer to process the food, the liver and gallbladder need to work intensely, and the pancreas releases extra enzymes to help break down the molecules. When all this occurs in a young body, the metabolism can handle it. But in aging, where these functions no longer have the same efficiency, the result can be different: fatigue, drowsiness after meals, and even difficulty concentrating. It's like fueling an old car with fuel that's too heavy. Instead of gaining speed, it stalls. This is the effect that many seniors report without realizing the connection to the avocado. They feel their energy drop right after consumption, especially when ingested in large quantities or at night. A clear example helps to visualize. Imagine Martha, 70, who started preparing avocado cream for dinner to sleep nourished. Instead of deep rest, she started waking up at night with chest burning and a dry cough. By reducing the portion and preferring to consume it during the day, she noticed an improvement in sleep and energy. Small adjustments can make a big difference. This effect of drowsiness and digestive heaviness can even impact the practice of physical activities. Seniors who believe they are boosting their energy before a walk or a stretching class end up feeling unwell, with lower performance. In other words, what seemed like a strengthening strategy ends up sabotaging the very search for vitality. It is important to emphasize, the energy provided by the avocado is real, but it needs to be in harmony with the digestive capacity of each body. Moderate portions, appropriate times, and light combinations with other foods are the key to turning this energy into an ally, not an enemy. But if even energy can turn into exhaustion, there's an even less known impact: the effect of avocado on bone health. Few people imagine that this fruit, so associated with nutrition, can influence calcium absorption and, with that, the strength of the skeleton. When we think of bone health, the first nutrient that comes to mind is calcium. It is the raw material that strengthens bones and teeth, essential for preventing osteoporosis and fractures, conditions that are especially concerning for those over 60. But what few people know is that the balance between calcium and other minerals is as important as the quantity. And here the avocado comes in an unexpected way. It is a significant source of magnesium, an essential mineral, but which in excess can disrupt the very fixation of calcium in the bones. Magnesium has valuable functions. It participates in muscle contraction, nerve balance, and even blood pressure control. However, when the intake is disproportionate, it can compete with calcium in intestinal absorption. It's as if there were a dispute for space, and the result was less calcium being used by the body. For the senior, this means an increased risk of fragile bones, even when consuming milk, cheeses, or calcium supplements regularly. This is a silent mistake because no one imagines that a healthy food like avocado could interfere with the absorption of another nutrient so vital. The problem is aggravated when consumption is daily and in large quantities, reducing the diversity of the diet. The body stops receiving the balanced combination of minerals from different foods and becomes dependent on a single dominant source. Think of Robert, 74. He was always proud of never having broken a bone, even after minor falls. But by adopting the daily avocado trend, believing it would protect his heart, he started showing accelerated bone loss in his exams. The doctor realized that, despite supplementing calcium, the levels in his body were not adequate. The excess magnesium from the avocado was, indirectly, hindering the absorption. This type of imbalance shows the importance of variety. Bone health depends on an orchestra of nutrients: calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin K, and proteins. When one of them dominates in excess, the symphony loses harmony. And aging does not forgive. With each decade, bones tend to lose density, making falls and fractures increasingly dangerous. Therefore, it's not enough to look at the avocado only as a source of good fats. It can also influence less obvious areas of health, such as the skeleton. Understanding this detail helps to maintain not only vitality but also autonomy. After all, strong bones mean more freedom of movement and quality of life. But among all the mistakes we've talked about so far, there is still one that can be considered the most dangerous. It is the habit of making avocado a mandatory presence on the plate, every day, as if it were irreplaceable. This excess, disguised as health, opens the door to much greater imbalances. There is a concept that is repeated a lot in the world of nutrition: variety is the key to health. And this is even more true after the age of 60. The body needs different nutrients, from different sources, to maintain balance and vitality. That's why turning a single food into a daily habit can be so harmful, even if that food is considered healthy. In the case of the avocado, this trap is more common than it seems. Many seniors, enchanted by the advertised benefits, create the habit of including avocado every morning, believing they are doing the best for their heart and longevity. But, in practice, this reduces dietary diversity, impoverishes the gut microbiome, and increases the risk of nutritional deficiencies. The intestine functions as an ecosystem. It needs different fibers, different types of starch, and varied bioactive compounds. When the diet is concentrated on a single food, even a rich one, this ecosystem loses strength. And there is another problem: dietary monotony decreases long-term adherence. The pleasure of eating is linked to the variety of flavors, colors, and textures. When the plate repeats itself every day, the tendency is to lose motivation and, in many cases, compensate with less healthy choices at other times. Thus, what started as an attempted care can end up opening the door to slip-ups. Imagine Irene, 69. She decided to replace bread and butter with a generous slice of avocado every day for breakfast. In the first few months, she was proud of her discipline. But soon came the side effects: constipation, lack of energy, and exams showing iron deficiency. The excess avocado reduced the intake of other important foods, such as fruits rich in vitamin C, which would help with iron absorption. This example shows how the insistence on the same food every day can weaken the body gradually. It's not just a matter of calories, fats, or excess magnesium. It's the loss of diversity, the impoverishment of the plate, and the consequent wear and tear on the body. The solution is in balance. Consume avocado 2 to 3 times a week, in moderate portions, and always in combination with other protective foods. This allows you to enjoy its benefits without giving up the variety essential for longevity. And now we come to the most important point of this journey: if avocado can bring risks when used incorrectly, how can we transform it into a true ally of vitality after 60? In the next step, we will gather everything we have learned and show the way to use this food with intelligence and safety. After everything we have seen, it is clear that the avocado is not an absolute villain, but it is also not the flawless superhero that many imagine. It can indeed be a powerful health ally after 60, as long as it is used with wisdom. The secret is to avoid the mistakes we discussed, turning knowledge into practice. The first key is moderation. Instead of large portions, prefer small quantities. 2 tablespoons are already enough to offer good fats, fiber, and satiety. This simple change protects you from excessive calories, prevents liver overload, and keeps digestion lighter. The second is variety. Don't let the avocado take up the space of other equally important foods. Alternate with fruits rich in vitamin C, like oranges and acerola, that strengthen the immune system, with sources of lean protein, which help preserve muscle mass, and with colorful vegetables, which nourish the gut microbiome and balance nutrient absorption. The third is attention to individual context. If you take continuous medications, especially anticoagulants or hypertension drugs, talk to your doctor before increasing your avocado consumption. This simple attitude can prevent dangerous interactions and maintain the effectiveness of the treatment. And we cannot forget about practical care. Choose the fruit well, avoid consuming spoiled or oxidized avocados, store it correctly, and prefer fresh preparation, without adding sugar. These details, often neglected, make all the difference in food safety. Now, most importantly, use the avocado as part of a larger strategy for healthy aging. It is not a magic solution, but it can be an ally within a lifestyle that includes good nutrition, regular physical activity, adequate hydration, and quality sleep. It is this combination that protects the body's natural defenses and prolongs vitality. Remember, aging with health is not about following fads or superfoods of the moment, but about making conscious decisions, respecting the signals from your body. The avocado can be present on this journey, as long as it is a balanced supporting actor, not the absolute protagonist. If this content helped you see the avocado with new eyes and rethink your habits, subscribe to the channel now. This way, you ensure access to more practical and science-based guidance to protect your health, strengthen your body, and live your coming years with energy and autonomy. Because true wisdom is not about eliminating or idolizing foods, but about finding the right point of balance. And that is what leads to a full longevity.